Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Science Channel. I'm so glad you found your way here tonight. Maybe it's been a long day, or maybe you're someone who drifts to sleep best with a touch of quiet wonder, letting thoughts of distant horizons soften the edges of the world around you. There's nothing you need to do now but rest. Let your mind loosen, your breathing settle, and your body become warm and weightless. Because tonight, we're not just closing our eyes. We're traveling to the farthest future the universe can offer, to times so distant they stretch beyond imagination, to eras where stars have dimmed, galaxies have faded, and even time itself seems to slow into a gentle hush. From the last flickers of starlight to the quiet possibilities waiting at eternity's edge, we'll explore 100 sleepy facts about how the universe may one day come to rest. All in a calm, soothing journey designed to help you relax and drift deeply into sleep. And if these peaceful explorations help you unwind, consider liking and subscribing. It helps other sleepy travelers find their way here too, to share in these quiet cosmic dreams. Now, close your eyes, settle into the stillness, and let's begin. Fact 1. The universe already aging. Long before we imagine the grand finale of everything, the universe has already begun its gentle aging. In cosmic terms, our home is middle-aged, quietly settling into a slower rhythm after the bright, energetic days of its youth. Stars are still forming, yes, but not as eagerly as before. And the great bursts of creation that once filled the cosmos have softened into something calmer and more measured. If you could step back far enough, you might sense the universe exhaling, as though easing into a long, slow twilight. The galaxies still shine, but there's a quietness beneath their glow, a subtle hint that the cosmic pace has begun to settle. And from this peaceful slowing, the story of the end quietly begins. Fact 2. A cosmos in slow motion. As the universe expands, everything within it appears to move in a slow, dreamy drift. Galaxies stretch farther apart, and light travels longer distances through deepening space. Though billions of years pass with every cosmic blink, the future unfolds as gently as mist moving across a calm lake. This slow motion isn't alarming. It's serene. The universe is stretching into its vastness with the grace of something that has all the time it could ever need. On scales so grand, change becomes soft and unhurried. Stars shine, planets turn, and entire galaxies glide outward, like lanterns floating on a dark, endless sea. And in that drifting quiet, the first hints of the far future unfold. Fact 3. The gentle fade of star formation. There was a time when the cosmos brimmed with newborn stars, when clouds of gas collapsed in brilliant waves to spark new suns throughout the galaxies. But that era has been slowly ebbing. The raw material for star making, those delicate clouds of hydrogen and helium, is growing thinner with each passing eon. Star formation hasn't stopped, but it's becoming rare, like quiet embers at the edge of a once bright fire. Tomorrow's universe will have fewer brilliant blue giants, fewer glowing nurseries, fewer moments where gravity and gas ignite into brilliance. Instead, the cosmos leans toward stillness, toward dimmer lights and longer nights. And beyond this fading glow, the Milky Way itself begins to gently dim. Fact 4. The dimming of the Milky Way. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, is still a grand swirl of starlight, but slowly, softly, it too is beginning to dim. Over unthinkable stretches of time, the bright youthful stars that once gave our galaxy its glow will burn out, one by one. New stars will form, less often, and the vibrant spirals will gradually lose their shine. like a lantern fading as its oil runs low. But this dimming is gentle. Nothing vanishes suddenly. Instead, the Milky Way's light thins in delicate layers, leaving behind long-lived red stars, warm and steady, casting a calmer glow into the dark. The galaxy becomes quieter, more contemplative, settling into a tranquil cosmic dusk. And in that growing stillness, space begins to feel wider. Fact 5. The growing silence. Between galaxies. Across the deep universe, galaxies once gathered in crowded neighborhoods, held close by gravity and the shared warmth of countless stars. But as the cosmos expands, those bonds loosen. The vast distances between galaxies stretch even farther, turning familiar constellations of islands into isolated specks drifting through an ever-darkening sea. This drifting apart happens so slowly that no living eye will ever notice it. But in the far future, the silence between galaxies will grow so immense that even their light will no longer reach one another. Each galaxy becomes its own quiet universe, cocooned in darkness, surrounded by more emptiness than we can truly imagine. And as the spaces widen, the fabric of the universe continues its gentle stretch. Fact 6. The stretching of space. Itself, unlike an explosion that simply pushes things outward, the universe expands by stretching the very fabric of space. Imagine a soft, endless cloth that grows between every point, slowly lengthening the distances without disturbing the quiet. This expansion has been happening since the dawn of time, but in the far future, it becomes the dominant force shaping everything. Galaxies aren't flying apart. Space itself is widening beneath them. Light must cross longer and longer distances, becoming fainter as it travels. Over eons, that light redshifts into softer hues, eventually fading into wavelengths too gentle for any instrument to detect. The universe becomes a place of whispering, stretched light, thin enough to feel like a slow exhale. And beyond that stretching, the faintest stars still hold their fragile glow. Fact 7. The faintest stars still burning. Even as the universe grows older and quieter, some stars continue to shine with almost unimaginable patience. These are the smallest red dwarfs, tiny, steady lanterns that burn their fuel with extraordinary care. Unlike massive stars that blaze brightly and fade quickly, red dwarfs sip their hydrogen slowly, stretching their lifetimes into trillions of years. In the far future, when the bright blue suns and golden giants have vanished, these dim red stars will still glow like soft embers in the cosmic night. Their light isn't strong, but it's warm, persistent, and deeply gentle. A last whisper of stellar life. And when their glow finally softens, another kind of quiet traveler emerges in the dark. Fact 8. Brown dwarfs. Waiting in the dark. Brown dwarfs sit in a peaceful space between planets and stars, too small to ignite steady fusion, yet too massive to be mere wanderers. They glow faintly in their youth, then cool over billions of years until they become little more than warm, drifting shadows in the vastness of space. In the distant future, the universe will be filled with countless brown dwarfs, moving slowly through the dark like forgotten coals. They don't shine brightly, but they hold on to their heat with a shy persistence, releasing it gently over unimaginable timescales. They are the quiet heartbeats of a fading cosmos, steady in their solitude. And as these dim wanderers cool, the raw material for new stars grows ever thinner. Fact 9. The fuel of stars running low. For stars to be born, clouds of gas must gather, swirl, and collapse. But that gas is not limitless. With every new generation of stars, the universe spends a bit more of its precious hydrogen and helium, turning it into starlight that drifts outward and fades across the heavens. Now, in the present era, star birth is slowing. In the far future, it will nearly cease. The great nurseries of the cosmos will empty, like wells that have offered their last drink of light. Without fresh gas to gather, even gravity can no longer kindle new suns. The universe enters a calm phase where existing stars age quietly, with no new fire to replace them. And so the stage is set for the last true generation of stars to appear. Fact 10. The last births of sun-like stars. In the quiet future of the cosmos, the last sun-like stars will form from shrinking pockets of gas, rare treasures hidden within fading galaxies. These stars will resemble our own sun, warm and steady, but they will be born into a universe already growing dim. Their nurseries will be smaller, their birth clouds thinner, and their light will shine into far lonelier surroundings. Yet each of these final stars will burn for billions of years, offering gentle warmth to whatever worlds might orbit them. They become soft beacons in a night that grows longer with every passing era. Their births mark the closing chapters of a cosmic story, billions of years in the making. And after these final suns, the universe begins to welcome its longest-lived stars. Fact 11. Red dwarfs and their long goodbye. Red dwarfs, the smallest of the true stars, are the patient caretakers of the cosmos. They burn with a deep, steady glow, not bright, but incredibly long-lasting. While massive stars live quick, dramatic lives, red dwarfs stretch their fuel across trillions of years, far exceeding the current age of the universe. As the future unfolds, these gentle stars will dominate the night. They will be the last to shine, their faint red light lingering like the softest embers of a fire long after the logs have turned to ash. Planets around them may enjoy long eras of warmth and calm, drifting through the quiet of a universe that is slowly running out of starlight. And when their gentle flames finally dim, the cosmos steps deeper into darkness. Fact 12. The final blue star. Blue stars are the universe's brilliant sprinters, intensely hot, dazzlingly bright, and astonishingly short-lived. They burn their fuel so quickly that they rarely survive more than a few million years. But even in the distant future, in the last pockets of star formation, a final blue giant may appear, blazing fiercely against the growing night. Its light will be radiant but fleeting, a sudden flare in a cosmos already beginning to forget such brilliance. It will shine with the energy of youth in a universe that has grown old, casting powerful beams across emptying space before fading into silence. And with the passing of that last blue star, the stellar nurseries of the cosmos fall quiet forever. Fact 13. When stellar nurseries close. There was a time when galaxies shimmered with stellar nurseries, vast glowing clouds where gravity sculpted new suns from drifting mist. But as ages pass, these nurseries gradually fall silent. Their gas becomes scattered or locked away in old stars, leaving little behind to nourish new generations. The grand clouds that once shone with pink and blue light will fade into thin, ghost-like wisps. In the far future, a galaxy may drift for billions of years without welcoming a single newborn star. The rooms of creation close gently, like doors left slightly ajar in an empty house. The cosmos doesn't resist this change. It simply settles into a calmer state, quieter and deeper. And in that quiet, only the aging stars remain to illuminate the long night ahead. Fact 14. Ghost light from distant suns. As stellar birth wanes, most of the universe's light will come from old, faint stars scattered across enormous distances. Their glow will reach us, or whoever might be watching, as ghostly, stretched light, softened by the expansion of space. Each photon will travel farther than ever before, weakened but persistent, carrying a memory of a star that may no longer shine. This ghost light lingers like the afterglow of a faraway lantern, drifting through the dark with a patient calm. It becomes the background hum of the cosmos, a quiet reminder of the vibrant ages long gone. Even when the stars themselves have dimmed, the echoes of their radiance continue their gentle journey. And beyond those fading echoes, even the white dwarfs begin their slow retreat into darkness. Fact 15. White dwarfs, cooling in silence. After a sun-like star ends its active life, it settles as a white dwarf, a dense, pale ember made of the star's core. At first, these remnants glow fiercely, holding on to the last of their heat. But without new fuel to burn, they can only cool. Over trillions of years, their brightness softens, dims, and eventually becomes barely more than a whisper of warmth in the vast dark. Imagine them like frost-covered coals, slowly losing their glow as the universe around them stretches and quiets. Thousands, then millions, then countless trillions of white dwarfs will cool in silence, becoming colder than the surrounding space. And from these icy remnants, a new kind of stillness enters the cosmic story. Fact 16. The formation of black dwarfs. As white dwarfs cool over unimaginable stretches of time, they eventually lose nearly all of their heat. What was once the glowing heart of a star becomes a black dwarf, a cold, quiet crystal of matter resting in the deep dark. No light escapes them, no warmth remains. They simply drift as silent relics of a universe that once shimmered with starlight. These black dwarfs are incredibly dense, like diamonds the size of planets, but utterly still. Their journey from bright ember to frozen shadow takes longer than the universe has existed so far. And when they finally form, the cosmos enters a new chapter, one defined not by creation, but by patient, gentle fading. And in that fading silence, the last sparks of fusion become memories. Fact 17. The last sparks of fusion. Fusion, the process that powers stars, is one of the great engines of the cosmos. It lights galaxies, warms planets, and fills space with radiant energy. But even fusion cannot last forever. As stars age and die, as fuel dwindles and temperatures fall, the universe gradually loses the ability to ignite new fires. The last stars burn their final hydrogen, helium, and heavier elements before sinking into quiet forms of stellar ash. In the distant future, the final flickers of fusion will come from rare, fading stars, tiny bursts of energy that shine briefly and softly. Eventually, those too will cease, leaving behind a universe where no new light is born. And with fusion gone, galaxies themselves begin to feel the weight of the dark. Fact 18. A galaxy without youth. Imagine a galaxy where every young star has long since burned out, where no bright blue giants dance across spiral arms, and where no glowing nebulae cradle new suns. This is the future of every galaxy, including our own. Without fresh gas to form new stars, the spirals lose their vivid color. The brilliant clusters fade. The once vibrant arms become faint outlines drifting in the dark. Such a galaxy is not dead, just resting. Its remaining stars are old and gentle, glowing softly across enormous stretches of space. They drift like elders in a quiet village, keeping warm memories of brighter times. Over eons, even their light will thin, leaving only a dim, ancient haze at the galaxy's center. And beyond that haze, the universe begins to imagine life after starlight. Fact 19. The universe after starlight. When the last stars fade, the universe doesn't suddenly fall into darkness. It drifts there slowly, like a long sunset stretched across trillions of years. The glow of old stars diminishes, settling into a faint haze that barely brushes the edges of space. What remains is a cosmos lit mostly by memory, the soft afterglow of ancient suns, stretched thin by expansion and time. This era is quiet, gentle, and strangely peaceful. No new stars interrupt the silence. No bursts of supernovae ripple through the dark. Instead, the universe becomes a calm sea where only the oldest, dimmest lights linger. And through this dimming, the night grows deeper, guiding the cosmos toward its next soft transformation. Fact 20. Darkness becoming the norm. As the last luminous stars fade into cool embers, darkness spreads across the universe, not as a threat, but as a natural settling, like nightfall after a long, radiant day. Fewer sources of light remain, and those that do shine are so faint that only nearby space can sense their glow. On the grand scale, darkness becomes the backdrop of everything, a smooth, endless canvas. But this darkness is not empty. It holds drifting white dwarfs, cooling brown dwarfs, aging neutron stars, and quiet wanderers left behind by earlier eras. They move slowly, like thoughts drifting through a dream. Their presence gives the darkness texture, a gentle reminder that the universe is still here, simply resting. And within this vast resting place, galaxies continue their silent drift apart. Fact 21. Cosmic expansion growing stronger. As time carries on, the expansion of the universe becomes the dominant force, shaping everything. Space stretches, quietly and steadily, pulling galaxies farther and farther away from one another. From any single point, the rest of the universe seems to drift outward like lanterns floating into an endless night. This expansion doesn't roar or rush. It unfolds with deep patience. The fabric of space lengthens, cooling the light that travels across it, turning bright beams into softer, dimmer whispers. Entire clusters slip beyond view, not because they vanish, but because their light can no longer reach across the swelling distance. And as the expansion strengthens, the Milky Way itself begins to settle into a lonely, island-like existence. Fact 22. The eventual isolation of the Milky Way. As the universe expands, most of the galaxies we see today will drift so far away that their light can no longer reach us. Over unimaginable spans of time, the Milky Way, merged by then with the Andromeda Galaxy into a single, larger system, will become an island adrift in a dark, widening ocean. No new galaxies will appear on our cosmic horizon. The distant ones will slip quietly beyond view. In this lonely future, our galaxy will feel like the last warm light in a vast and silent room. Its stars will still glow, but no messages from the larger universe will ever arrive again. And within this growing isolation, the galaxies that remain begin their own quiet transformations. Fact 23. Island galaxies in a dark sea. Once, the universe was filled with visible neighbors, clusters, groups, and swirling families of galaxies, all interwoven in a delicate cosmic web. But in the far future, each surviving galaxy becomes an island unto itself, separated from all others by distances too large for light to cross. These cosmic islands drift alone, held together by their own gravity and memories of a busier time. In this solitude, a galaxy feels almost like a self-contained world. Its stars, planets, and remnants orbit peacefully, untouched by outside forces. The darkness around it grows smooth and uninterrupted, stretching endlessly in every direction. And from within that quiet, galaxies slowly dim, losing their brightest lights to time. Fact 24. When other galaxies slip beyond view, there will come a time when telescopes of any imaginable kind would see no galaxies beyond our own. The expanding universe carries them away faster than their light can travel toward us. Eventually, their last faint rays, stretched thin and red by the growth of space, will fade into invisibility. The sky will appear nearly empty, dotted only with the stars of our own aging galaxy. This doesn't happen suddenly. It's a slow fading, like lanterns drifting beyond a foggy horizon. One by one, distant galaxies become too faint to detect, then too far to imagine. The universe becomes a quieter, more intimate place, filled only with what remains nearby. And beyond that vanishing horizon, the great cosmic structures begin to dissolve into emptiness. Fact 25. The end of cosmic clusters. In the early universe, galaxies gathered in great clusters, vast families bound by gravity, drifting together like schools of cosmic fish. These clusters were luminous, intricate, and full of activity. But as expansion grows stronger, even these mighty gatherings begin to loosen. Galaxies slip away from one another, their bonds stretched thin by the widening fabric of space. In the deep future, a cluster will gradually unravel, leaving its galaxies isolated and adrift. No sudden break, no dramatic scattering, just a soft, patient drifting apart, like petals floating away on a slow-moving river. And as clusters dissolve, the universe's once-connected web becomes increasingly sparse, forming a quiet tapestry of solitary lights. Fact 26. When gravity gives its final hold. Gravity has been the universe's great sculptor, shaping stars, galaxies, and clusters across billions of years. It is gentle, persistent, and tireless. But even gravity has limits. As the expansion of space accelerates, there comes a time when gravity can no longer gather distant objects together. Only the tightest, closest structures remain: galaxies, star systems, and small clusters of remnants. Imagine a universe where gravity's voice grows softer, where its reach slowly withdraws. It does not disappear. It simply holds only what it can still embrace. Everything else drifts outward, beyond capture, beyond influence, into the widening calm. And with gravity's hold shrinking, stars and their remnants find themselves wandering into deeper, lonelier darkness. Fact 27. Stars lost in intergalactic space. Throughout the ages, stars can be nudged, flung, or quietly pushed out of their galaxies. Some are cast away by gravitational dances with black holes. Others drift free when galaxies merge or stretch. These lonely stars travel through the silent space between galaxies, the intergalactic medium, a region so vast and empty that light takes ages to cross even the smallest fraction of it. In the distant future, the number of such wandering stars will grow. They will shine faintly, each one alone in a sea of black, their light reaching no galaxy and warming no nearby worlds. They are cosmic drifters, glowing softly as they move farther from all that once held them close. And as these stars wander outward, the universe's great web grows ever more delicate and thin. Fact 28. A thinning cosmic web. In its youth, the universe formed a delicate web of galaxies and filaments. Great rivers of matter threaded through space. Over billions of years, this cosmic web shaped the distribution of everything. galaxies clustered along its strands, while vast voids opened in between. But as expansion steadily grows, the web begins to soften, its patterns fading like gentle brushstrokes washed by time. The filaments stretch thinner and thinner, their once strong bridges weakening into faint, wispy traces. The connections that once tied galaxies together grow too long for gravity to maintain. Slowly, the web loses definition, becoming an airy lattice drifting in an ever-widening emptiness. And as the web thins, each galaxy settles deeper into its own quiet solitude. Fact 29. Galaxies becoming quiet islands. In the distant future, every galaxy will exist as a quiet island, holding on to its stars and remnants while the rest of the cosmos drifts quietly away. These islands are self-contained worlds, each one a floating city of ancient suns, brown dwarfs, white dwarfs, neutron stars, and black holes. No new galaxies will appear on their horizons, and no intergalactic visitors will cross their boundaries. Inside these island galaxies, the rhythm slows. Orbits remain, stars continue their long fade, and remnants drift peacefully through the dark. Without the busy company of neighboring galaxies, each island feels like a lone lighthouse in a vast, moonless ocean. And as these lights dim, the great emptiness surrounding them grows smoother and more complete. Fact 30. The universe's vast, empty gaps. Even today, the universe contains enormous voids, regions of space with almost no galaxies at all. But in the far future, these voids will grow until they dominate nearly everything. The distances between galaxies become so large that the darkness stretches uninterrupted for unimaginable lengths. These gaps are not frightening. They are gentle, quiet expanses where nothing disturbs the stillness. Within these vast hollows, space feels almost like a soft, endless night sky, calm, open, and profoundly serene. The few objects that drift through them move slowly, untouched by starlight, gliding like silent fish through a dark cosmic sea. And against this backdrop of growing emptiness, black holes begin to rise as the central characters of the universe's next chapter. Fact 31. The era of black holes begins. As stars fade and galaxies fall quiet, black holes remain among the universe's most enduring structures. They are the deep wells of gravity left behind by massive stars and the giants that dwell at the hearts of galaxies. When starlight diminishes, black holes step gently into the foreground, not by growing louder, but simply by outlasting everything else. The cosmos becomes a place shaped by their patient pull. Old stars drift toward them. Gas clouds, once bright with potential, spiral inward and disappear into their depths. Even in a universe growing colder, black holes persist, dark anchors in an ever emptier sea. And as this era unfolds, starlight itself begins its slow glide toward the waiting dark. Fact 32. Starlight falling into the dark. The universe may seem calm, but it is full of motion. Stars drifting, remnants wandering, and the faint glow of ancient suns traveling across vast space. Over immense spans of time, more and more of this matter drifts toward black holes. Stars that pass too close are stretched, pulled apart, or quietly swallowed. Gas spirals inward in long, thin streams, feeding the dark centers like gentle, glowing currents. Each act of falling is slow, graceful, and almost imperceptible. There is no roar, no rush, just the quiet pull of gravity doing what it has always done. And with every star or cloud consumed, the universe grows a little darker, a little emptier, a little quieter. And into this quiet, the largest black holes take their slow, steady place as cosmic rulers. Fact 33. Supermassive giants holding court. At the hearts of galaxies lie the supermassive black holes, millions or billions of times the mass of our Sun. Even as the universe dims, these giants remain serene and powerful, like ancient monarchs presiding over fading kingdoms. Though their feasts become rare in a dying cosmos, their presence endures, anchored by gravity so strong it bends both light and time. In the far future, these titans will be among the last luminous objects, not because they shine, but because the material falling into them can still create brief flickers of energy. These flickers will be faint, soft reminders of the vibrant galaxies they once governed. And long after these echoes fade, the universe turns its attention to the quiet merging of the remaining black holes. Fact 34. Black hole. Mergers in the deep future. Even in a universe growing quieter by the eon, black holes can still find one another. Over the course of unimaginable spans of time, gentle gravitational nudges cause some of these dark giants to drift closer together. Their orbits tighten with every slow, spiraling turn, as if they're performing a silent cosmic dance in the vast night. When two black holes finally merge, the event is peaceful from afar, a soft ripple in the fabric of space, traveling outward like a whisper across the dark. No bright flash, no exploding star, just the universe gently adjusting to a new shape. The merged black hole grows heavier, steadier, more enduring. And in the stillness that follows, the cosmos enters a deeper chapter of quiet consumption. Fact 35. Stellar corpses feeding the darkness. Long after all normal stars have vanished, the universe remains sprinkled with remnants. White dwarfs, neutron stars, brown dwarfs, and cold stellar ashes drifting through the dark. Over immense eras, many of these remnants slowly fall toward black holes. Some pass too close and are stretched apart, their matter forming graceful spirals of faint, warming energy. Others are simply swallowed whole, disappearing without a sound. This slow feeding is one of the last energetic processes in a fading cosmos. It's not dramatic, but steady, like the final embers settling deeper into a fire's heart. With each remnant consumed, the universe takes one more step toward simplicity, shedding the last bright traces of its earlier life. And beyond these quiet meals, a deeper silence waits for the black holes themselves. Fact 36. The silence after a galaxy's last feast. Eventually, even black holes, patient and enduring, will run out of things to consume. The stars that once orbited them will have cooled into dark remnants. Gas clouds will be gone. Interstellar dust will drift too sparsely to offer more than a trace. A galaxy's central black hole, once a bustling gravitational hub, becomes a solitary figure in a nearly empty realm. This silence is not lonely, it is serene. The black hole simply rests, influencing whatever small fragments pass near its horizon. Its gravity continues, calm and unchanging, but the universe around it offers no more nourishment. The age of feasting ends, and the age of waiting begins. And in that stillness, black holes prepare for their own long, slow fading. Fact 37. The slow evaporation of black holes. Even though black holes seem eternal, they are not truly unending. Over almost inconceivable lengths of time, they gradually lose mass through a delicate process called Hawking radiation. It's an incredibly slow evaporation, so slow that a black hole with the mass of a star would take far longer to fade than the age of the universe itself. But given enough time, even these dark giants begin to soften around the edges. Imagine a black hole as a perfectly still pond in the night. From its surface, faint ripples of energy escape, gentle and patient, carrying away tiny bits of mass. The black hole shrinks imperceptibly, becoming smaller and quieter with every passing epoch. And as this evaporation continues, the universe prepares for one of its faintest forms of light. Fact 38. Hawking radiation's whisper. Hawking radiation is not bright, not loud, not even truly warm. It is a whisper at the edge of existence. It arises from the strange, quantum nature of space itself, where tiny pairs of particles flicker in and out of being. Near a black hole's horizon, these pairs behave differently. One particle escapes, carrying energy outward, while the other falls in, reducing the black hole's mass by the slightest amount. The light from this process is unimaginably dim, softer than the glow of a single ember buried beneath mountains of ash. Yet in a universe where all other sources of energy have faded, even the faint breath of Hawking radiation becomes significant. And as black holes shrink, their whisper grows, leading to their final quiet moments. Fact 39. The final moments of mass. When a black hole grows extremely small, no bigger than a mountain, then a pebble, then a grain of dust, its evaporation accelerates. What was once a slow drift of energy becomes a gentle, glowing sigh. In its last heartbeat of existence, the black hole releases a final shimmer of radiation, a tiny pulse of warmth into the cold and empty universe. This final glow is not a dramatic burst. It is a calm, peaceful ending, the last note of a song that began billions of trillions of years before. The black hole disappears, leaving behind only the soft imprint of its passing in the surrounding space. And once the last black hole fades, the universe steps into an era where almost nothing remains to change. Fact 40. The last black hole's faint glow. In the farthest reaches of time, after countless ages have passed, one final black hole will remain, the smallest, slowest survivor of a universe once filled with giants. It will sit alone in an immense sea of darkness, gently releasing its last traces of Hawking radiation. Its glow will be unimaginably faint, a shimmer softer than starlight, quieter than memory. This final black hole will not be lonely. The universe around it is calm and accepting. Its slow evaporation marks the closing of an era billions of times longer than the age of all stars combined. When it finally releases its last whisper of energy, nothing dramatic happens, only a soft completion. And with that, the universe enters a new age where matter itself begins to loosen its hold. Fact 41. Particles with nowhere left to go. When black holes have vanished, the universe is left with scattered particles drifting through an almost featureless expanse. These particles, electrons, neutrinos, and the tiniest fragments of matter, wander in cold silence. With nearly all structure gone, they have no stars to warm them, no galaxies to gather into, and no black holes to fall toward. They exist in a kind of quiet suspension. Their motions are slow, gentle, and endlessly patient. They drift on paths set long ago, barely interacting, almost like dust drifting in a vast, dark cathedral where the air never stirs. And in this stillness, scientists imagine the next slow, subtle transformation, the possible decay of the particles themselves. Fact 42. Protons, facing their long fate. One of the great mysteries of the deep future is the fate of protons, the building blocks of atoms. Some theories suggest that protons may eventually decay, an incredibly slow process that would unfold over distances of time too large for human intuition. If this decay occurs, it will be gentle and quiet, more like a slow fading than a collapse. Each proton, after waiting for unimaginable spans, would quietly transform into lighter particles, tiny messengers drifting outward into a universe already growing thin. There would be no flash, no sound, no sudden shift, just the gradual unweaving of matter's most basic threads. And if protons truly fade this way, the universe will move toward a state where atoms themselves can no longer endure, drifting into an even deeper simplicity. Fact 43. Atoms, unraveling into light. If protons eventually decay, atoms, the quiet building blocks of everything we know, will slowly unravel. Their once stable forms will loosen, releasing faint particles and gentle trickles of energy into the dark. No dramatic bursts, no sudden endings. Just a gradual softening, like old threads dissolving into warm sunlight. Over unimaginable spans, matter becomes more diffuse, more delicate, more like the afterglow of a fading dream. What was once solid, stars, planets, dust, even the remnants of ancient galaxies, turns into a gentle mist of drifting particles. As these tiny pieces spread farther apart, the universe becomes a quieter and simpler place. And from that simplicity, chemistry itself begins to fade into memory. Fact 44. The vanishing of everyday matter. In a universe where atoms can no longer hold themselves together, everyday matter, the kind that formed galaxies, oceans, mountains, and living beings, gradually disappears. The familiar structures of the cosmos dissolve into lighter and lighter constituents, until nothing remains that can form stars or planets or even grains of cosmic dust. This vanishing happens with profound gentleness. Matter doesn't crumble or collapse. It simply releases its strength back into the vastness, allowing space to grow lighter and smoother. What remains are faint particles drifting through a universe that has grown too cold and too spacious for anything more complex. And in this new, almost featureless expanse, chemistry gives way to a subtler, more ethereal quiet. Fact 45. The quiet death of chemistry. Chemistry is the dance of atoms, bonds forming and breaking, elements combining, matter shifting shape through gentle rules. But as atoms themselves vanish, chemistry slowly ceases to exist. No new molecules form. No reactions occur. The cosmos becomes a place without transformation, a realm where only the smallest and simplest particles remain. This is not a harsh ending. Instead, it feels like the universe slowly closing a book it has been reading for trillions upon trillions of years. The intricate story of matter, from starlight to life to galaxies, settles into a calm, final page. What lingers is peaceful, a soft rain of particles drifting through endless space. And in that vast quiet, neutrinos continue their silent journey through the dark. Fact 46. Neutrinos in the endless cold. Neutrinos, those tiny, elusive particles that pass through stars, planets, and even our bodies with almost no interaction, will linger long after most other forms of matter have faded. They move effortlessly through the universe, barely touching anything, like soft murmurs drifting through an empty hall. In the distant future, when atoms have unraveled and light has stretched into faint whispers, neutrinos will still wander the cold expanse. Their journeys are quiet and solitary. They slip through the dark with gentle persistence, unaffected by the emptiness around them. They are the universe's faintest travelers, carrying echoes of its earliest moments. And as they drift, only the mysterious presence of dark matter remains to shape the vast, quiet landscape. Fact 47. A universe made of almost nothing. As time stretches into eternity, the universe becomes a realm of astonishing simplicity. Gone are the stars, the planets, the glowing nebulae, and the swirling galaxies. All that remains is a thin scattering of particles, electrons, neutrinos, and the lightest traces of energy drifting through an immense and chilly emptiness. Space feels almost bare, like a vast canvas wiped clean. This almost nothingness isn't frightening, it's serene. Every particle moves slowly, gently, without urgency. The cosmos hums with the softest kind of existence, reduced to its most delicate essence. There is no rush, no conflict, no change left to unfold. And moving through this soft, pale void is one last invisible sculptor, dark matter itself. Fact 48. Dark matter, holding its last shape. Dark matter, though invisible and silent, has long shaped the cosmos. It held galaxies together, formed the cosmic web, and influenced the dance of stars across billions of years. But in the far future, with no galaxies left to bind and no structures left to hold, dark matter exists as quiet relics drifting through space. It may not decay the way normal matter might. Instead, it simply becomes more diffuse as the universe expands. Imagine dark matter as a gentle fog, one that grows thinner with each passing era. It still exerts gravity, but there is little left for it to influence. Its presence is felt not through action, but through absence, a final, subtle thread in the universe's fading tapestry. And as even gravity's influence wanes, the cosmos moves toward a state of nearly perfect emptiness. Fact 49. The final traces of gravity. As the universe grows larger and colder, gravity's influence slowly fades into the background. It still exists, still tugs, still whispers its ancient pull. But with so little matter left to shape, its reach becomes almost imperceptible. Once, gravity sculpted galaxies, formed stars, and guided planets along graceful orbits. Now, it pulls only faintly on scattered particles, drifting through vast stretches of space. It is a soft, nearly silent presence, like the memory of a breeze long after the wind has stopped. Gravity remains, but its power is gentle, a quiet echo of the cosmic forces that once shaped everything we know. And as gravity becomes a background hum, the universe slips into an era where almost nothing is left to anchor or define structure. Fact 50. A space of barely anything. With matter diluted beyond imagination, the universe becomes a place made mostly of space itself, wide, open, and astonishingly smooth. The few surviving particles are separated by distances so enormous that they might as well be alone. Space has expanded so thoroughly that even light, stretched thin into cold wavelengths, barely brushes against these drifting remnants. In this era, the universe feels peaceful, as though it has finally settled into a deep and dreamless slumber. There is no activity left, no bursts of creation or collapse. Just a vast, quiet landscape where change happens so slowly that it is almost indistinguishable from stillness. And within this serene emptiness, the laws of physics still hold, leaving room for exotic possibilities that whisper at the edge of what might be. Fact 51. Phantom energy and a universe. Unbound. One speculative possibility for the universe's future is the presence of phantom energy, a form of dark energy that could grow stronger over time. If it exists, its influence would gently accelerate the expansion of space even more dramatically than today. Over immense stretches of time, this energy could become powerful enough to pull everything apart, not violently, but with a soft, unstoppable persistence. Imagine space stretching so quickly that galaxies, stars, and even atoms find themselves gently unbound. Structures would drift away from one another until nothing remains connected, a cosmos dissolving into pure expansion. This scenario is uncertain, but its quiet, inexorable pull paints a picture of a universe slowly drifting beyond all bonds. And whether or not phantom energy exists, other endings whisper their own versions of the cosmic lullaby. Fact 52. The slow freeze of the heat. Death. One of the most widely accepted visions of the universe's end is the heat death. A long, gentle cooling, where everything gradually drifts toward uniform temperature. In this future, energy becomes evenly spread out, leaving no warm pockets, no gradients, no sparks left to fuel change. The cosmos doesn't freeze suddenly. It simply levels out, like warm tea cooling until it matches the quiet air around it. In this still, even-tempered universe, no new complexity can arise. Everything is so balanced, so perfectly distributed, that nothing moves or transforms in a noticeable way. It's a peaceful ending, more like a soft settling than a dramatic finale. And from this calm equilibrium, the universe enters an era where time itself loses meaning. Fact 53. The endless fade of the Big Freeze. Another way to imagine this cooling is the Big Freeze, a slow, steady fading where the universe becomes colder and more dilute with every passing epoch. Stars are gone, black holes have evaporated, and the remaining particles grow farther apart as space expands. Light continues to stretch into longer and gentler wavelengths until it becomes more like a quiet hum than a visible glow. This freeze is not a sudden chill, but an unhurried drifting toward stillness. The universe expands until distances grow so immense that nothing can interact or influence anything else. Everything becomes too far apart, too cold, too slow to spark new activity. And as the Big Freeze settles in, the cosmos becomes a vast expanse of serene, unbroken quiet. Fact 54. The Big Rip's hypothetical horizon. Another speculative ending is the Big Rip, a future where dark energy grows more powerful over time, eventually overwhelming every force in the universe. If this scenario were true, the expansion of space would accelerate without limit. Galaxies would drift apart, then stars, then planets, and finally even atoms themselves could be gently pulled apart by the relentless stretching of space. It wouldn't be violent in the dramatic sense, more like the world slowly losing its structure, thread by thread, as space expands faster than anything can hold together. This idea remains uncertain, a possibility whispered by some cosmological models, but not confirmed. And whether or not the Big Rip ever comes, the universe's future remains a canvas for strange and beautiful possibilities. Fact 55. A universe of only expansion. As the far future unfolds, one possibility is that expansion continues endlessly, shaping everything with its slow, steady pull. In this vision, the universe becomes defined not by stars or galaxies, but by the quiet widening of space itself. Expansion becomes the main motion left, a soft stretching that grows more delicate as matter thins. Nothing resists it, nothing interrupts it. Space simply opens, calmly and continuously. Imagine the cosmos as an enormous, gentle breath, inhaling forever, growing wider with each passing era. There is no sudden change, no boundary where things shift sharply. Just the smooth, patient drift toward greater openness. And in this ever-expanding quiet, the smallest quantum events begin to take on new significance. Fact 56. quantum fluctuations in a cold void. Even in a universe nearly empty and unimaginably cold, quantum fluctuations still ripple softly through the fabric of space. These tiny disturbances are like fleeting shimmers, momentary appearances of energy that flicker in and out of existence. In the deep future, when all classical forms of matter and energy have faded, these quantum whispers become the faintest signs of activity left in the cosmos. They are not bright or energetic. Instead, they resemble the smallest ripples on a perfectly still pond, appearing briefly before dissolving back into the calm. These fluctuations don't build stars or galaxies. They are far too delicate for that. But they hint that even a universe approaching stillness never becomes completely silent. And from these subtle hints of activity arises the possibility of something even more mysterious. Fact 57. False vacuums and sudden change. Some theories suggest that the universe may not be in its most stable possible state. Instead, it might exist in what physicists call a false vacuum, a kind of temporary resting point that could, in theory, shift to a more stable configuration. If such a transition were ever to occur, it would begin with a tiny bubble of new physics expanding through space. But even this possibility, though dramatic in concept, would feel gentle on the cosmic scale. The bubble would grow smoothly, changing the laws of physics silently as it passed. No sound, no explosion, just a quiet transformation unfolding across the emptiness. This idea remains entirely speculative, a dream at the edge of scientific imagination. And beyond such possibilities, the universe drifts deeper into a realm where even ideas strain to describe what comes next. Fact 58. Bubble universes drifting apart. In some speculative models of the cosmos, our universe may be just one bubble in a vast sea of other universes, each with its own laws, constants, and cosmic stories. These bubbles aren't close or interactive. They drift in a higher dimensional space, separate and unreachable. If such a multiverse exists, new bubbles might continue to form, expanding quietly into the emptiness like soft, cosmic blossoms. Our universe, in its fading twilight, would simply become one of many. A bubble gently coasting towards stillness as others shimmer into being. There is no competition or conflict between them. Each bubble follows its own destiny, its own tempo of growth and aging. And as our bubble grows colder, the idea of countless others adds a subtle wonder to the great quiet ahead. Fact 59. Speculations at the edge of time. As we peer into the farthest reaches of cosmic history, our theories stretch thin, like threads drawn across too vast a distance. The mathematics grows delicate, the physics becomes dreamlike, and the universe itself seems to slip beyond what our minds can comfortably imagine. Speculation becomes a gentle companion, not a claim, but a soft curiosity about what might lie beyond our current understanding. In this realm, scientists picture possibilities rather than certainties. New dimensions rippling softly through space, exotic particles shaping the faintest remnants of energy, or entirely new frameworks emerging as the universe cools. None of these ideas are firm answers, but they are quiet reflections on a cosmic future too distant to witness. And as imagination stretches outward, the language of physics becomes almost poetic in its humility. Fact 60. When physics runs out of words. Eventually, as the universe grows empty, cold, and almost featureless, our descriptions of it begin to lose their grounding. Physics, which once explained stars, galaxies, and the motions of planets, finds itself without familiar structures to describe. With no heat differences No interactions, no change. Even the idea of time becomes ambiguous, a gentle, near motionless flow. When physics reaches this frontier, it doesn't collapse. It simply becomes quiet, like a storyteller who has reached the end of a tale told over countless ages. What remains is a serene landscape that defies ordinary language, a cosmos so simple that even our deepest theories struggle to capture its essence. And beyond this soft horizon of understanding, the universe enters its far, far future, a realm where only the quietest eras await. Fact 61. The era beyond, trillions of years. In the deep future, beyond trillions upon trillions of years, the universe enters an age where familiar markers of time lose their meaning. Stars are gone, galaxies are dim memories, and even black holes have faded into gentle whispers of radiation. What remains is a cosmos so stretched, so quiet, that entire epochs pass with almost no change at all. Time flows, but softly, like sand drifting through fingers that never close. In this era, space is wide and smooth, a tranquil ocean without waves. Particles glide slowly, hardly touching, moving through distances so vast they seem eternal. And in this slowest of ages, the universe feels like it is resting, suspended in a peaceful, unbroken dream. Fact 62. Galaxies, long forgotten. Even the thought of galaxies becomes a kind of ancient myth in this far-off time. The swirling spirals, brilliant clusters, and glowing hearts of the cosmos are so distant in the past that their light is no longer anywhere to be found. All the memories of their motion, their stars, their collisions, their dances across the early universe have dissolved into silence. What remains are only faint particles drifting through an infinite quiet. The vast bridges that once linked galaxies together have long since stretched into nothingness. The structures that once defined the universe have melted away, like intricate patterns smoothed by endless tides. And in the absence of these ancient cities of light, the cosmos becomes a place of pure, gentle openness. Fact 63. The faintest possible light. With stars extinguished and galaxies dissolved, the universe is left with the softest glow imaginable. Every remaining particle carries a trace of energy, a lingering warmth from its long cosmic journey. But as space expands, even this faint energy stretches into longer and cooler wavelengths, until the universe is filled with radiation so subtle it is almost indistinguishable from darkness. This is the faintest possible light, a quiet, ghost-like presence, warming nothing, guiding nothing, but still gently filling space with the last echoes of creation. It feels like the aftertaste of starlight, spread thin across eternity. And as this final glow fades further, the motions of the universe become too slow for any eye or mind to truly follow. Fact 64. Motions, too slow to notice. In the unimaginably distant future, motion still exists, but it becomes so slow, so subtle, that no being could ever detect it. Particles drift through the vastness at a pace that feels almost frozen, their paths stretching across billions of light years. A single interaction, a tiny collision, might take longer than the current age of the universe. Everything moves, yet everything feels still. It's as if time has stretched so far that even the smallest events become sleepy and unhurried. Nothing presses forward, nothing resists. The cosmos seems content to glide in a soft, endless silence, where motion and rest blend into the same gentle state. And in this softened rhythm, the very meaning of time begins to blur. Fact 65. A universe without time's meaning. Time has always been shaped by change, by the rising of stars, the collapse of galaxies, the warmth of fusion, and the cooling of space. But once these processes fade, time itself becomes hard to define. When nothing changes in noticeable ways, seconds, years, and ages lose their distinction. Time becomes more like a smooth, uninterrupted horizon than a sequence of events. In this quiet future, moments drift together, seamless and calm. The universe still exists within time, but it no longer feels the pulse of beginnings or endings. Instead, everything settles into a single, continuous now, a vast meditation stretching across eternity. And within this ageless calm, only the faintest remnants of structure remain to mark the passing of cosmic eras. Fact 66. When space becomes featureless. As the last traces of matter disperse and the universe expands even further, space loses its familiar features. No galaxies, no clusters, no filaments ripple across its surface. No stars punctuate the darkness. It becomes a smooth, open expanse, free of any distinct forms. Like a serene canvas washed clean, the cosmos rests in a state of pure simplicity. This featureless space isn't empty in a cold or lonely way. It is gentle, expansive, and deeply peaceful. Every direction looks the same. Every point feels equally calm. There is nothing to disrupt the quiet, nothing to stir the stillness. And from this soft emptiness, the universe moves toward the last delicate remnants of structure that remain. Fact 67. The last remnants of structure. Even in a universe drifting toward perfect emptiness, a few final traces of structure may linger. Tiny clumps of particles, faint tendrils of dark matter, or thin collections of energy that have not yet fully dispersed. These remnants are delicate, almost ghost-like, holding on to their shape with the faintest whisper of gravity or inertia. They do not shine, they do not change, and they do not interact in any meaningful way. They simply are. These last structures resemble gentle footprints in cosmic sand, left behind long after the traveler has passed. Over endless ages, even they will stretch and soften until they blend seamlessly into the surrounding calm. And once they dissolve, the universe becomes more serene than ever before. Fact 68. A soft end to all change. Eventually, the cosmos reaches a point where almost nothing happens at all. No forces strong enough remain to spark transformation. No complex interactions occur. The universe becomes a place where even the smallest changes require timescales beyond comprehension. It is not frozen, but it moves in a way so slow and so subtle that change itself becomes almost indistinguishable from stillness. This is not a harsh ending. It is a settling, a cosmic exhale after an eternity of creation and transformation. The universe has wandered through birth, growth, fading, and quieting. Now it rests in a state of profound tranquility, with no turbulence left to disturb its peaceful equilibrium. And in that tranquility, even the idea of events becomes a gentle memory. Fact 69. The universe. After events, there comes a stage where events, those moments that once filled the universe with motion and color, cease to occur. Without heat differences or gravitational collapses or flowing particles, the cosmos finds itself in a near-perfect steadiness. It doesn't end in a single moment. Instead, it drifts into this state gradually, like a story closing its final chapters with slow, graceful strokes. What remains is pure presence, a vast expanse where nothing interrupts the quiet. The universe is still here, stretched and softened by time, but it no longer unfolds a narrative. It simply exists in peaceful silence, unhurried and undisturbed. And from this calm, the idea of eternity begins to take on a new kind of meaning. Fact 70. Calm that lasts forever. When the universe reaches its quietest state, calm becomes its defining quality. Nothing remains to stir the stillness. No stars ignite, no galaxies collide, no black holes feed or glow. Instead, the cosmos drifts in a serene equilibrium where ages pass with the gentleness of drifting clouds. Eternity no longer feels like an overwhelming stretch of time, but like a soft, unbroken moment extended across the whole of existence. This calm is peaceful, like a long exhale after countless epochs of movement and light. The universe isn't empty or forgotten. It is simply resting, held in a vast, tranquil pause. And within this everlasting quiet, new questions emerge about what meaning remains in a universe without change. Fact 71. What it means for time to end. In a cosmos where nothing changes, time begins to lose its familiar meaning. Time has always been measured by motion. Planets orbiting, stars burning, galaxies spinning. But when these motions fade into near stillness, time ceases to feel like a river and becomes more like a calm, endless lake. There are no markers, no clocks, no cycles to distinguish one moment from another. This doesn't mean time stops. It simply becomes irrelevant. Moments blend gently into one continuous presence, smooth and undivided. In such a state, the universe exists outside the rhythms it once knew, resting quietly beyond the measures that once defined its ages. And in this timelessness, the universe enters a realm of moments without witness. Fact 72. Moments without witness. As the universe becomes deeply quiet and profoundly simple, there may no longer be observers, no beings, no civilizations, no minds to notice the passing of ages. Yet the cosmos continues to exist, stretching through eras that no eye will see and no memory will hold. These moments unfold like soft petals opening in an empty garden, present but unobserved. There is a gentle beauty in this solitude. The universe, once vibrant with stars and stories, now experiences a kind of peaceful anonymity. It no longer needs an audience to shine or evolve. It simply rests in its own presence. And from this unobserved quiet, the idea of a universe without memory begins to take shape. Fact 73. The universe without memory. In the distant future, when all traces of activity have faded, the universe becomes a place without memory. There are no galaxies to record their spiraling paths, no stars to leave behind glowing reminders of their lives, no planets to preserve stories in stone or ice. Everything that once held history has dissolved into quiet, drifting particles. Without memory, the cosmos feels weightless, free of the marks and impressions that once shaped it. What happened in the early ages of starlight becomes indistinguishable from what happens now. It is a deep, gentle forgetting, like waking from a dream and feeling only the calm it left behind. And in this fresh quiet, even the idea of story slips into peaceful slumber. Fact 74. The silence after story. Stories once filled the universe. The births of stars, the deaths of suns, the collisions of galaxies, the rise of life, and all the tiny bright moments in between. But in a cosmos where nothing changes and nothing stirs, narrative itself dissolves. There are no beginnings, no endings, no arcs, only a soft continuation without chapters. This silence after story is not empty or sad. It feels like the final page of a long book gently closing, leaving the air still and warm around it. The cosmos rests without needing to become anything else. It has told its tale, painted its canvas, sung its ancient song. Now, it simply is. And in that pure being, stillness grows even larger than imagination. Fact 75. Stillness, larger than imagination. The stillness of the far future is not the quiet of a room or a winter night. It is a vast cosmic stillness, spread across distances so immense they blur into infinity. Nothing moves in any noticeable way. Nothing glows. Nothing whispers. The universe becomes a grand, peaceful emptiness, filled with a sense of rest so deep that it exceeds all human comparisons. This stillness is almost a presence in itself, a soft, infinite calm that surrounds everything and asks nothing. It is the quiet after all stories, all lights, all motions have softened into silence. And in that stillness, a new kind of beauty appears, the beauty of pure, uninterrupted peace. And from this peace arises a gentle question about meaning in an empty cosmos. Fact 76. Meaning in an empty cosmos. As the universe settles into its deepest quiet, a natural question arises. What meaning remains in a cosmos with no stars, no life, no patterns, and no change? The answer, softly, is that meaning does not vanish. It transforms. Without motion or memory, meaning becomes something gentler, something woven into the very existence of space itself. The universe does not need observers to be beautiful. It does not require stories to be profound. Its calm presence is enough. In the emptiness, meaning becomes a quiet continuity, a simple fact of being. The universe continues, serene and undisturbed, carrying within it the echoes of all that ever was. And from this subtle sense of purpose, a new appreciation of impermanence emerges. Fact 77. The beauty of impermanence. Impermanence has shaped the universe from the beginning. Stars are born, shine, and fade. Galaxies collide and drift apart. Worlds arise and crumble. Even atoms form and dissolve. This constant flow of change gives the cosmos its texture, its rhythm, its quiet poetry. And as the universe nears its final gentle stillness, the beauty of impermanence becomes more evident than ever. Nothing was meant to last forever, and that is what makes each moment luminous. The fading of stars is as beautiful as their birth. The quieting of galaxies is as natural as their spirals once were. Impermanence wraps the cosmos in a tender truth. Everything is precious because everything changes. And from this truth flows the gentle realization that all things must eventually fade. Fact 78. How everything fades. Gently. In the universe's final ages, fading is not abrupt or violent. It is soft, gradual, and almost tender. Stars lose their heat slowly. Galaxies drift apart quietly. Atoms unravel with unimaginable patience. Everything that once shone does so a little less each era, until it finally rests in perfect stillness. This gentle fading is like an endless twilight, where the light grows dimmer not in sorrow, but in acceptance. The cosmos does not resist its transformation. It relaxes into it. The universe's long journey, from brilliant beginning to tranquil end, unfolds with a calmness that feels like a deep and peaceful sigh. And within this fading, one final glow of warmth remains, the simple fact that existence happened at all. Fact 79. The warmth of existing at all. Even in a universe drifting toward perfect quiet, there remains a soft warmth in knowing that everything once existed. Stars once shone with fierce brilliance. Galaxies once danced in luminous spirals. Life once pondered its place among the stars. All of this is past, but the gentle echo of existence lingers like a fading ember at the edge of memory. This warmth isn't literal. It's the quiet glow of having been. A universe that lived through creation complexity and wonder carries a subtle imprint of that journey. Even in its stillness, it reflects the beauty of everything it once held. And from this reflection comes a comforting truth. Endings are softened by the richness of what came before. Fact 80. Why the end isn't frightening. When we think of endings, we often imagine something sharp or sudden, but the end of the universe, as scientists envision it, is gentle and unhurried. It unfolds over timescales so large that no moment feels like a boundary. Instead, one era flows softly into the next, like the slow dimming of a candle that continues to glow even as its flame grows small. There is no cosmic catastrophe waiting in the shadows, only a peaceful unwinding of structures that have carried on for unimaginable ages. The universe doesn't collapse, it settles. It doesn't break, it relaxes. And in that relaxation, there's a deep comfort, as though the cosmos itself is drifting into restful sleep. And within that restfulness, the idea of renewal begins to whisper from far away. Fact 81. The possibility of rebirth. Even in a universe approaching stillness, some theories suggest that beginnings may one day follow endings. In certain cosmological models, the universe could experience cycles, long periods of expansion, followed by collapse or renewal, each giving rise to new eras of stars and galaxies. These cycles are not certainties. They are gentle, speculative dreams, but they offer a sense of cosmic breath, an inhale after a long exhale. Imagine the universe gathering itself after endless quiet, forming new structures from the faintest quantum seeds. A new cosmos might blossom with fresh stars, new laws, and unimagined patterns. Whether or not this ever occurs, the idea carries a soft hope that even after a vast stillness, creation may one day stir again. And with that hope, the universe's ancient story begins to hint at cycles older than time itself. Fact 82. Cosmic cycles in ancient thought. Long before modern science explored the universe's distant fate, ancient cultures imagined the cosmos as cyclical, born, fading, and reborn again in an endless rhythm. From the Hindu concept of cosmic ages to the Stoic vision of eternal recurrence, many traditions pictured the universe breathing in great cycles, each ending flowing naturally into a new beginning. While these ideas arose from philosophy and myth rather than physics, they carry a quiet wisdom. They offer a way to imagine the cosmos not as a single path toward stillness, but as a vast story that loops gently, like tides upon an infinite shore. And even though science does not confirm these cycles, the echoes of ancient thought still whisper through our modern wonderings about cosmic renewal. Fact 83. A universe that breathes in and out. Some scientific models explore the possibility that the universe could expand for trillions of years, then gradually slow, contract, and collapse inward, only to rebound in a new explosion of light and creation. This idea, sometimes called the Big Bounce, imagines the cosmos breathing in and out on timescales so vast they are almost beyond comprehension. In this vision, collapse is not destruction, but preparation. The gathering of cosmic material before a new burst of stars fills the sky again. Worlds would rise from the ashes of their ancestors, and time itself would feel rhythmic rather than linear. This scenario remains speculative, yet it paints a soothing image of a universe that never truly ends, only transforms. And from such transformations come quiet dreams of other worlds, far beyond our own horizon. Fact 84. Theoretical echoes of other worlds. Many cosmologists have wondered whether our universe is just one part of a larger cosmic landscape, a place where new universes might bud from the remains of old ones, or appear spontaneously from quantum fluctuations. In some theories, these universes remain forever separate, each with its own rules and patterns, drifting like bubbles in an endless sea. Though we may never see these other worlds, their possibility adds depth to the cosmic story. They suggest that creation may not be a singular event, but an ongoing, delicate process, happening in ways we cannot observe. Even in a quiet universe, the seeds of other realities may pulse beneath the surface. And with this thought, the idea of eternal recurrence begins to unfold with gentle curiosity. Fact 85. The dream of eternal recurrence. The idea of eternal recurrence imagines a universe where everything that has happened will one day happen again, not through memory or repetition, but through the endless cycling of cosmic conditions. If space and time loop in ways we cannot yet perceive, the moments we cherish and the stars we admire might reappear in a distant, renewed cosmos. Not exactly the same, but beautifully similar, like familiar melodies returning in soft variations. Though this concept is philosophical rather than strictly scientific, it offers a gentle comfort that nothing is truly lost, only transformed. The universe becomes a great storyteller, revisiting themes across eternities. And in that dreamlike repetition, we can imagine the cosmos breathing new life into old wonders once more. Fact 86. From nothing, something once more. Even in a universe approaching perfect stillness, some theories suggest that new beginnings could emerge from almost nothing at all. Tiny fluctuations, arising quietly from the quantum fabric of space, might grow into entire universes if conditions are just right. A single spark, far smaller than an atom, could blossom into a new realm filled with stars, galaxies, and the potential for life. This idea paints a serene picture, the quiet vacuum acting as a cradle for future creation. No explosion, no noise, just a gentle emergence, like a seed pushing through soft soil into the light. It suggests that even emptiness has a kind of fertile potential. And from this delicate possibility comes the image of a calm space waiting to nurture new universes. Fact 87. The calm between universes. If universes can arise, fade, and rise again, then there may be long, tranquil spaces between them, stretches of timeless stillness where nothing grows or dissolves, but simply exists. These inter-universe pauses might be vast beyond imagining, soft expanses of pure potential. In such a quiet, nothing rushes. Nothing interrupts the rest that lies between cosmic eras. Picture this calm as the universe drawing a breath after an immensely long story, a peaceful interlude before the next chapter begins. It is a space without stars or laws, without motion or memory, held gently in the cradle of possibility. And from this spacious stillness, the seeds of future creation continue their silent wait. Fact 88. Seeds hidden in entropy. As the universe drifts deeper into stillness, entropy, the gradual spreading of energy, reaches its highest point. At first, it might seem like a state where creation is impossible, but some theories suggest that within this wide, quiet sea of disorder, the tiniest fluctuations still carry the potential for new beginnings. They are like seeds hidden in soil long after the last harvest, waiting for the right moment to stir. These fluctuations don't force themselves into being. They arise gently, like soft ripples on an otherwise motionless lake. Most fade without consequence, but a rare few might blossom into something greater. And from these unlikely seeds, the idea of renewed universes quietly unfolds, even in the calm of near-perfect stillness. Fact 89. Fluctuations giving rise again. Quantum fluctuations, tiny, momentary blips of energy, are woven into the fabric of existence itself. Even in a universe that has grown cold and almost completely empty, these fluctuations still flicker, appearing and vanishing in the smallest spaces. Most are fleeting, but some theories imagine that, given enough time, one fluctuation might swell into a new universe, expanding softly into its own vastness. It would begin small, smaller than a grain of dust, smaller than a whisper of light, and yet it could carry within it the blueprint for an entirely new cosmos. Stars, galaxies, and life could emerge once more, though unmistakably different from anything that came before. And in this possibility lies the gentle thought that endings may simply be transitions, waiting quietly to unfold. Fact 90. The whisper of a new beginning. If a new universe ever arises from the quiet stillness of the old, its birth will not resemble a loud explosion, but a soft unfolding, a whisper of energy blooming into something vast and bright. It may not remember the cosmos that came before it, just as a seed has no memory of the tree that sheltered it. Yet its existence would echo the cycles of creation woven throughout the deepest theories of physics. This whisper of a new beginning is just a possibility, a gentle what if, held lightly in the hands of cosmologists and dreamers. Whether or not it ever happens, the thought brings comfort that even after the longest silence, the universe may one day exhale into light once more. And with this soft promise, the tale of cosmic endings begins to turn toward eternity again. Fact 91. The universe as a passing phase. When we zoom out far enough, the entire lifespan of the universe, from its fiery birth to its quiet fading, becomes just one phase in a much larger, unknowable story. It is a chapter within a greater book, a single breath in an endless atmosphere. This perspective softens the finality of cosmic endings, reminding us that even the grandest structures may be temporary steps within something larger. Nothing in the universe has ever stayed the same for long. Stars rise, galaxies shift, and the very laws of physics may change under different cosmic conditions. In this view, the universe itself becomes a fleeting expression of deeper possibilities. And from this vast sense of perspective, the end of our cosmos begins to feel like a gentle transition rather than a final goodbye. Fact 92. The softness of cosmic finality. Cosmic finality is not sharp or sudden. It unfolds with profound softness. The universe does not snap closed like a book. It drifts slowly and peacefully into simplicity. Structures unweave themselves thread by thread. Light stretches into whispers. Motion blurs into stillness. The cosmos relaxes into a state that feels less like an ending and more like a long, quiet exhale. There is comfort in this softness. It reassures us that even on the grandest scale, nature prefers calm transitions over harsh finishes. The universe follows a path of unhurried unfolding, guided by gentle laws that ease it into rest. And within this tender quiet, infinity itself becomes a companion rather than a boundary. Fact 93. Infinity as a quiet companion. Infinity is often imagined as something overwhelming or vast beyond measure. But in the universe's final ages, infinity becomes peaceful, a quiet space where existence stretches without urgency. Instead of being a challenge to grasp, it becomes a soft backdrop, like an endless night sky that asks nothing of those who gaze upon it. This quiet infinity holds no pressure, no rush, no fear. It is simply the space in which the universe rests, calm and unbroken. The cosmos breathes within it, moving ever more slowly until motion fades into near stillness. Infinity becomes not a destination, but a gentle environment, the final home of an aging universe. And in this infinite calm, we turn our attention to what remains when all else is gone. Fact 94. What remains when all else goes? When the universe has shed its stars, its galaxies, its matter, and even its memories, something gentle still remains: the quiet fabric of space itself. Though nearly empty, it continues to exist, stretching peacefully into the infinite distance. There are no structures to disturb its calm, no light to cast shadows, no motion to mark the passing of ages. What remains is pure presence, a soft canvas on which no new patterns are drawn. This remaining space is humble, serene, and unburdened by the weight of creation. It is the subtle residue of a cosmos that once glittered with energy, now resting in its simplest form. And within this quiet presence, the universe retains a final measure of peace, even when everything else has slipped away. Fact 95. The endless black as a kind of peace. To imagine the far future of the universe is to imagine a darkness so complete it becomes soothing rather than frightening. This endless black is not an abyss, but a calm expanse, free of turbulence and free of time. It does not claw or consume. It simply surrounds all that remains with a gentle hush. In this vast, velvety quiet, the universe finds a new form of grace. Darkness, in this cosmic context, is not an absence but a sanctuary. It holds the history of every star, every world, every breath of life, all dissolved into a tranquil whole. The quiet blackness is soft and nurturing, like a night sky that has expanded to embrace everything. And in this soothing void, our stories become small but cherished glimmers in a timeless sea. Fact 96. Our stories in a temporary cosmos. Though the universe may one day fade into stillness, the stories that unfolded within it remain meaningful beyond measure. Every spark of curiosity, every moment of wonder, every life that ever looked up at the stars contributed to the tapestry of existence. Even if the cosmos itself is temporary, its stories ripple outward in ways that transcend time. Our narratives of love, discovery, imagination, and exploration are part of the universe's brief but brilliant period of complexity. They shine as softly as starlight, leaving gentle imprints on the cosmic fabric. The universe may be vast and ancient, but our presence within it gives it a kind of heart. And from this reflection, the final truths of endings begin to emerge with quiet clarity. Fact 97. Why endings are natural. In the vast story of the cosmos, endings are not flaws or failures. They are gentle transitions woven into the fabric of existence. Every star that ever shone eventually softened into twilight. Every galaxy that ever spiraled slowly drifted into stillness. Endings are simply the universe's way of turning the page, moving from one chapter of its long tale to the next with patience and grace. When we step back far enough, we see that endings give shape to the story. They mark the completion of cycles, the quiet culmination of countless transformations. They are moments of rest after long eras of motion. And in accepting the universe's ending as natural, we find a deeper peace in the journey that brought us here. Fact 98. A final look back at the stars. If we could take one gentle glance back across all cosmic history, we would see a universe that once sparkled with endless light. Millions of galaxies, each filled with radiant stars, painted the darkness with shimmering patterns. Nebulae glowed like cosmic gardens. Worlds orbited suns in quiet harmony. Life arose, wondered, and reached toward the sky. This final look is soft, not sorrowful. It allows us to appreciate the beauty that once filled the cosmos, the bright birth of stars, the slow drift of galaxies, the fragile moments when consciousness bloomed in tiny corners of space. Even if these wonders have faded in the distant future, their echo remains warm. And from that echo, we turn gently toward eternity, carrying the memory of starlight within us. Fact 99. The comfort of cosmic eternity. Eternity is not a vast emptiness. It is a soft and endless calm. It is the quiet that follows after all stories have been told, the peace that settles over a world at rest. In this cosmic eternity, the universe feels neither lonely nor lost. It simply exists, serene and unburdened, its long journey complete. There is comfort in this grand stillness. Everything the cosmos once held, every star, every galaxy, every breath of life, has contributed to its peaceful, final state. Eternity becomes a gentle resting place where the echoes of all eras blend into a single, soothing hush. And from within that hush, only one final good night remains to be spoken. Fact 100. The universe's gentle good night. In the farthest stretch of time, after light has faded and motion has softened into near stillness, the universe reaches its quiet good night. There is no final moment, no sharp boundary, only a long, tranquil settling as everything relaxes into simplicity. The cosmos, once vibrant with stars and color, now rests like a vast, peaceful ocean with no waves left to rise. Its story is complete, its pages softly closed, its energy dispersed into the quiet fabric of space. And though nothing stirs, the universe holds a calm beauty, a final whisper of all that ever was. And so, with a gentle sigh across eternity, the cosmos drifts into endless rest. And as our journey comes to a gentle close, I hope you found a bit of calm among the stars tonight. If you enjoyed drifting through these sleepy facts, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and comment below what topic you'd love to fall asleep to next. When you're ready to keep dreaming, tap the end screen to watch the next sleepy astronaut video and continue your quiet voyage through the universe. Sweet dreams, and see you among the stars.